Hello world, hope you're doing well. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. So before we hop into this, I want to share with you a crazy story. So I went down South Florida, which I haven't been in South Florida for like 10, 12 years. Went to a cruise with Lady LRB down in Miami. Haven't been in that area since. This was way before I was famous on YouTube or anything like that for fish keeping. And so we went down there, 6-hour drive for this rare fish auction. I wasn't planning on filming anything, wasn't really planning on doing much as far as videos, but there was this fish store that was right next to where that rare fish auction was. Now, when I was there 10, 12 years ago, we stopped at a fish store that had like these gold ring danios and these rare tetras, a lot of the fish of what I saw in the fish store that I went to. Now, this fish store was in a different location, and it had been such a long time. He said that they ended up shutting that store down for family reasons and then ended up starting again. So what is really crazy about it to me is the fact that I haven't been in this area for such a long time, but then I stumble across the same owners and operators of the fish room that I had visited such a long time ago. And what they have done with their place is absolutely phenomenal. So you can tell that this fish store is coming from a hobbyist mind. This guy is ingrained with other hobbyists, and it was really something to see. So the fact that I got to do the tour with Henry on such a whim, you know, he wasn't planning on doing this. And being a business owner, you got some guys like, oh yeah, I'll do a tour of your video or fish store and all that. But he was down for it. He was ready to go. He was a natural. It was awesome. So before I just ramble on, I did get some rare fish, and I will do an unboxing because I couldn't help but get some fish that I have always wanted for a long time that they had, and I'm super excited about, and we'll be super excited to share with you guys. But anyways, hit the subscribe button if you guys want to see that later. But let's go ahead and jump into it and check out the store.
Hey, Luke, man. How you doing?
Good. Hello everyone, I got a special treat for you guys. I am here with Henry.
Hey, Luke.
He's gonna give us a tour of his aquarium store. Nature Aquariums, and I tell you what, the fish room or the fish store absolutely exudes Nature Aquariums too. Like, you guys know me, I want to just do a fish tour of any store if it wasn't worth it and worth your time. So Henry, nice to meet you.
Hey, likewise.
And you want to show us around?
Sure. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, Luke. So I'm going to take you here by where our display tanks are, and we use these to show customers different setups, whether they're low tech, high tech, and different types of fish. We don't sell the fish out of these tanks, but they're to let these fish actually grow and really develop their beautiful colors, which, as you know, in freshwater fish, when they're juveniles, they really don't showcase themselves as well. You gotta let them mature, become sexually mature, and that's what we do in these tanks. Let the plants grow, let everything kind of mature, and show people how to do these things. I do them in my YouTube channel as well. We love paludariums, everything that's nature related. We try to set them up in how do you bring nature into people's homes, right? So we did this thing with our discus, incorporating terrestrial plants above and the plants going inside. I wanted to do an Amazonian scape, high temperature, and then with the mist and all these plants growing, and eventually I want them covering all the light bars. You know, that's going to take a little bit of time. But that's kind of like first thing we want to show is, hey, what can you do with nature, you know, and not have just a plain ugly Walmart box. No insult to Walmart, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you, this is my favorite part. You know, I don't know if you've seen some of my stuff. I love aquascaping. I've been doing aquascaping for a long time. I'm still learning. You know, there's so many great people to learn from, like our buddy Jeff Miyake, right? And so many of these great guys. So we did this little section over here to actually aquascape and set up rulers on the table here so we can set the size of the tank that we're working. Right now we're helping a young lady. She's setting up her tank, and it allows us to play. So I said, you know what, if we're gonna have this, I don't want to walk across the whole store to grab a piece of wood or rock. So we put all the rock and wood next to us, put all the fertilization, all the substrates, all the tools, and all the plants within walking distance, and try to make it a little zen area. And you'd be surprised, we're so stressed out from our jobs, we're so stressed out from life. Sometimes going here and playing with stuff, makes you feel really good. And I'm very fortunate to be working with some really good companies that come out with some good product and trying to help people have fun, and bring enjoyment to the hobby. And it's not just about a glass box, it's creating an aquatic environment for the fish and make sure that they feel happy enough to breathe, to flourish, But this is where I have fun, okay? I'm sorry, I get super excited doing this. And then we have our betas. We have them all individually filtered tanks, all with sponge filters, and everybody gets fed every day, a variety of different foods, and try to keep them as happy as possible. Actually, we're going to be upgrading these cubes to some nice 3-gallon rectangular ones, so I'll be able to set them front to back and have more room to have these guys in there with plants and to create different things like black water and so many other things, what these guys really like.
There's something you don't see often, a cross ray meta. These are rare.
Oh, the tropical. Also will do well is AR mini. That's.
You
Want to see how red it stays?
It needs the light, doesn't it?
It's
And let's see other people say
new. All right, so Luke, I wanted to show you, these are the new plant merchandisers from UNS. I just got them in. I'm really happy with them. It allows me to hold the plants like this, keep them all moist and growing nicely without algae and everything else. Plus it gives me more vertical room, because it was interesting. I used to have 8 feet of tank space, and now I'm down to 6 feet with the same number of plants, which I didn't before. The other thing that I'm trying to set up over here, hopefully the next time you come by, I'll have pots over here with all the different tissue culture plants growing in there, so I can actually show people, if they see a name, they don't recognize the plant, I'm going to have them growing with a label. So then they can see in a little pot with the soil and CO2 and fertilization, let them see how these plants actually grow. Because a lot of times people get confused. They'll see a stem plant, and you know how plants change, right? From when we cultivate them to by the time we put them underwater, they don't look like the same plant. So I want to get more people to really witness the beauty of these plants out there and how they can start thinking, oh, this is how it's going to grow. So that's my passion, that I want to really get excited and get people excited about plants. So the reason I want to do this tank to grow out the plants is it's on a wet dry, and for a big tank like this you need a lot of water flow, but there's a big misconception that you can't do CO2 in a wet dry because of the degassing. It's actually the gas exchange with oxygen is super important when adding CO2. So for those of you out there who are thinking of adding CO2, and you think that you don't need to go on the wet dry, please do. As long as you're adding the right amount of CO2 and you get good water movement, that gas exchange really makes the tank a lot healthier, because you need a good amount of oxygen in the water to balance out the CO2 that you're adding in. Yes, the plants are going to add their own oxygen, but that gas exchange is critical. If you look at nature, brooks, streams, everything, water is constantly being turbulent, and there's areas with very high CO2 naturally occurring, but they have a lot of breaking the water surface. So keep that in mind, guys. I gotta share something with you. I'm super excited that we just got this week. They didn't tell us, but we hit it. So Aquarium Co-op being a retail partner store, you have certain tiers, and then when you get to the highest tier, they send you something. This is what they sent us. We've become the highest tier in the retail partner, and that's been to a lot of help with Corey, Zenzo, Randy, and the whole team at Aquarium Co-op. They've been so supportive of our store since we opened up. We've done joint things with them, like at Aquashella, giving away stuff. But man, they put up such a good product, and I'm so proud to have actually their products here in the store. We carry 99% of all their aquarium co-op products here, and you know, Easy Green, such a great product. Their lights, I'm a little bit ticked off because they didn't have the lights available when we were setting up the store, and I can't justify right now the expense of replacing them, but as soon as those lights start going out, I'm going to replace them with co-op lights. They're so good, but I'm really happy to have that partnership with Aquarium Co-op and Corey and the whole team. You know, they're a great American company, and they really care about their customers and the hobby. I want to take you over here to our shrimp and microfish section, and I wish I had more shrimp to show you, but they kind of cleaned us out over the weekend. But we love doing a lot of the microfish. You know, with people going to smaller tanks now, it's so important to have the right fish, and I hate the search terms. You know, you look up small fish for a 3-gallon tank, and the only thing that pops up are neon tetras. And we know that that's probably not the best choice, you know, for them. But micro rasboras, so many of them, try to keep them in a really nice planted tank environment, and along with the shrimp, and the rasboras won't be eating the shrimp, which is great, you know. But that's what we kind of do over here in this section here. Have a lot of the small microfish to get people going to the smaller tanks. And then from here, we pretty much start on to the rest of all the tanks. And we did something different that other stores don't do. Everybody's got the color classification, aggressive or non-aggressive, but that doesn't really tell the whole story, because as you know, sometimes you can put 2 peaceful fish, but if there's a competition for territory, it's not going to be peaceful. And likewise, you can have some aggressive fish, but if you pair them up properly, the tank's going to be fine. So what we did is we did a classification more onto what type of fish are they. So if someone's looking for gobies or plecos, their bottom, we'll put them in the purple. If they're tetras or barbs, so we did that color coding to make it easier for people to find their fish. And then once again, everything's individually filtered, and we can adjust the water conditions for different tanks. Like for example, the discus, they're at 85 degrees, but my rest of the fish need to be a lot cooler. If we need to increase the hardness or the alkalinity in tanks, we can. If we need to do black water, we can, and we'll do that according to the fish that we put in there. My wife and my son, Ethan and Miriam, they're the fish aficionados, if you want to call them, and they're the ones ordering the fish, looking out after the fish, making sure they're in the right setup. And you know, I call my wife the fish whisperer. She just, you know, lives, breathes, and she got that passion instilled in our son from the very first beta he had when he was down to 5 or 6 years old, Boo the beta, and that sparked him, and he's got tarantulas and scorpions and all sorts of other cool critters at home.
I was absolutely impressed with his fish selection on what he brings in. Ones you will not find in normal fish stores at all. Even as Tombar driftwood, which that's class.
So I want to point out a new fish that's new in the hobby. These are red muzzle tetras from Mato Grosso, which is in Brazil. And these have only just begun to becoming available in the hobby. They're pretty much the closest to a solid red tetra you're gonna get. The coloring is incredible. Now we've had these in this tank for about 4 or 5 months, and every month they're getting more red and more red. Actually, Corey was in Germany recently and did a video, and he saw them in Germany. And I thought about him when I was watching the video on TV about him, but we have these. They're absolutely stunning. And what's really funny is that our Amano shrimp have also turned a little bit on the reddish side. So everybody's on the red side in this tank. But these tetras are absolutely stunning, and they're on an Aquarium Co-op light, which makes them look even better. I didn't want to go before showing you. These are the Foresta paludariums. They're made by UNS. What I like about them, it allows you to have water at the bottom with shrimp or nano fish, and at the top you can actually, I don't know if you can see, Luke, but you can set up your moss walls. These are with these removable moss pads that UNS makes, and they give you actually with a kit empty ones, and you can attach with string any plants or mosses that you want. But there's constantly a cascade of the mist and water keeping everything wet, so you can actually fertilize it and stuff will continue to grow. This guy is really overgrown. Actually, Hip Hung did this aquascape for us. And then I have this one, which I have to redo. And all I've been doing is just throwing plants in there that I want to do in my next scape and just keeping them well until I get a chance to redo this. But it really allows you to do a piece of outside in nature indoors, which I really like. So I want to walk you over to the blue side of the store. And, you know, on the freshwater side, you guys are used to, but on the saltwater side, one of the things we did different is that we have everything individually filtered. And we did that for disease control. Disease control is such an important part on the marine fish. As your viewers may know this from having fish tanks, some of these diseases hit a lot harder than they do on the freshwater side, and they can be spread so quickly. So we try to create different biotopes, all of them limiting the number of fish per tank. With macroalgae, just 2 to 3 fish per tank, so that way we can keep them nice and healthy. They're fed every day. Some of these fish are fed multiple times a day to get their immune systems going, to get their habits of eating. Now, a lot of these are wild caught, so they need to have that human interaction again, and we're trying to get that going with them once they come into our store. Then here on the coral systems, individual coral systems as well, not plumbed together. They're actually individually plumbed, and that's done to prevent any outbreak of a bacterial disease or anything from one system to the other. It also gives us redundancy. If one system is out, well, it's not bringing the whole store down. But that's, you know, will give a higher quality of animals to the fish hobbyists, and to try to teach and instill to customers quarantine, 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 quarantine. You know, if you're going to go into the saltwater side, have a quarantine tank. Learn the importance of making sure your fish are great before you introduce them to your main systems. Speaking about marine biology, I kind of want to put a shout out and a PSA to everybody else. We have an internship program here at the store. We work with our local universities with the marine biology departments. We are constantly looking for interns that are studying in marine biology, and we have a whole program that we work through the semester. They come in, and it's a hands-on lab that lasts for the term of semester. When they're done with it, they get a recognition, they get a recommendation letter, they get a whole bunch of things, and we teach them all the hands-on dirty of getting your hands wet into what is marine biology. And we try to give them a very rounded education in both freshwater and saltwater. So as a little PSA and shout out, and thanks for letting me do this, you go to natureaquariums.com. On the upper part under internship, there is the application. So if you are studying in, you know, the South Florida schools, please go and apply there, and then we'll contact you and we'll tell you what the program's about. We have all the information on our website, but we want to help these young kids, give them a head start for when they go and graduate.
Well, thank you, Henry, for showing us around. Is there anything else you would like to mention before we hop off here?
Oh, you know what? You know Jeff Miyake, right?
I do know Jeff.
Okay, so on Saturday, April 13th, we are doing a scape-off competition. And this is going to be the first time anything like this has been done in South Florida. We're opening up the registration page on our website. People are going to have to submit in their best works, a little resume. We're going to pick 4 scapers, and it's going to be a battle, kind of like Chop. Mystery boxes, everything. It's going to be filmed as well, and there's going to be a nice prizes. Prizes also for the audience. So this is going to be a live event that people are going to be able to come here and actually watch a real scaping event, kind of like Aquashella and all these. It's going to be on a smaller scale. I'm not that big, you know, but that's something they should watch out for. All the information is going to be on our website, natureaquariums.com.
Awesome. And did you say the date?
Saturday, April 13th.
Okay, awesome. That should be really cool. So if you guys want to interact with that, check him out. Thank you so much for giving me this tour. Beautiful store. I love the selection of everything you got going on here. Definitely worth it. And keep up the good work.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice meeting
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Lots of cool stuff coming up. I'll see you on the next one. Da 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 da.